Let me ask you something, and really think about it before you answer. Have you ever had a moment where you stopped and thought, my life is fine, so why don't I feel fine? Not in a dramatic way, not in a everything is falling apart way, just this quiet feeling that something isn't clicking the way it should. You're not failing. You're not behind in the obvious sense. You're doing what you're supposed to do, and still, it feels like you're running on a treadmill that never quite stops. Hey, I'm really glad you're here. Welcome back to Bookworm. I want to be honest with you. This book didn't hype me up at all. It didn't make me want to wake up at 5 a.m., rewrite my goals, or fix my mindset. What it did instead was way more uncomfortable. It made me realize how many of my goals weren't actually chosen by me. They were inherited, picked up along the way, absorbed from other people's expectations, social media, timelines, comparison. The Almanack of Naval Ravikant feels less like a book and more like a long, quiet conversation with someone who's already chased everything we think we want and came back to say, be careful what you measure your life with. While reading it, I caught myself thinking things like, why do I always feel slightly behind, no matter how much progress I make? Why does success feel heavy instead of calming? Why does just a little more never turn into enough? This book doesn't tell you what to want. It doesn't tell you how to win. It asks you to slow down and notice what wanting itself is doing to you. If you've ever felt tired without knowing exactly why, if you've ever wondered whether the version of success you're chasing is quietly draining you, if you've ever thought, I don't want more, I want peace, then I think this video will really speak to you. Stay with me until the end. Not because I'm going to give you answers, but because sometimes the right questions change everything.
Have you ever done everything you were supposed to do? You followed the rules, you got the good grades, you landed the right job, only to get there and think, wait, is this it? It's this strange, hollow feeling, right? That feeling that success and happiness aren't actually the same thing. Well, today we're going to dive deep into a philosophy for anyone who feels like that conventional path isn't adding up. We're exploring the big ideas from the Almanack of Naval Ravikant, which is really a modern handbook for life's two biggest quests, building wealth and, maybe more importantly, finding happiness. So let's just start with this one idea. Let it sink in for a second. Success does not earn happiness. This isn't just a clever line. It's the core problem this whole way of thinking is trying to solve. What it's really saying is that getting rich and being happy are two totally separate skills. You could be a world-class expert at making money, but a complete amateur at being content, and one does not automatically buy you the other. That's a huge deal, and we're going to keep coming back to it.
And the source for all this is the Almanack of Naval Ravikant. It's not a typical self-help book. It's more like a collection of core truths or foundational principles from Naval, who's a really well-known entrepreneur and investor. Think of it as a mental toolkit. It doesn't give you a step-by-step map, but it gives you a compass for thinking through these two massive challenges we all face: how to create real wealth and how to find some genuine, lasting peace of mind.
And that brings us right to what you could call the success paradox. You know the feeling? It's like you spend years climbing this huge mountain. You sacrifice, you work your tail off, and you finally get to the peak, look around, and realize you don't even like the view. Or worse, you just see another bigger mountain you feel like you have to climb next. This is why so many people who look incredibly successful on the outside are actually miserable on the inside. So let's unpack that. Let's figure out why that happens.
Now, before we get too deep into the philosophy, it's really important to know who this is coming from. This isn't just some armchair philosopher. Naval Ravikant has played the game of business at the absolute highest level. We're talking about founding companies, being one of the first investors in giants like Uber, and completely changing how tech startups get money. So his ideas aren't just theories, they've been tested and refined in the real world under immense pressure.
So here it is, the question that really gets to the heart of it all.
And this isn't just a question for tech moguls, it's for every single one of us. Have you ever gotten that promotion you wanted, or bought that car you dreamed of, and felt that rush of excitement, but then a week later it's just normal? That initial joy just fades and you're left feeling kind of empty, looking for the next thing? If you felt that, you've lived this paradox. So what is going on there?
To really get to the bottom of that question, we first have to redefine the words we're using. We have to change our whole perspective on what wealth even means. So in this next part, we're going to tear down the old definition of wealth as just money and build a new one that's actually about freedom.
Okay, this right here is probably one of the most important ideas in the whole book. We throw the words money and wealth around like they're the same thing, but they are not at all. Money is just a tool. It's what you get paid for your time. It's like an IOU from society. But wealth is different. Wealth is the thing that makes money for you. It's the assets that are working 24/7, even when you're not. It's the software that's running, the investments that are growing, the book that's selling while you're asleep. We chase money, but what we actually want is wealth.
And this quote just lays it out perfectly. Renting out your time. That's what most jobs are. Even high-paying jobs, like being a doctor or a lawyer. It's a trap. It feels safe, but it's a trap because the moment you stop working, the money stops coming in. Your income is tied directly to your hours. The only way to escape that trap is ownership. You have to own a piece of something. Equity. That could be stocks in a company, or it could be your own business, or a piece of software you wrote. That's the only way to get paid for the value you create, not just the time you put in.
So okay, how do you make that ownership really powerful? The answer is leverage. Leverage is just a way to multiply your effort so your decisions have a much bigger impact. The old ways of doing this were labor, hiring people to work for you, and capital, which is just using money to make more money. Both work, for sure, but they have a huge bottleneck. You need someone's permission. You need to convince people to work for you or convince investors to give you their capital. But then, a new kind of leverage came along that changed the entire game.
And that's this new third form of leverage. And the magic word here is permissionless. Think about things like computer code or media, like a YouTube channel, a podcast, a blog. The amazing thing about them is that they have basically zero cost to be duplicated. You can create a piece of software once, and it can be used by 10 people or 10 million people, and it doesn't cost you anything extra. This is the great democratizer. For the first time in history, you don't need anyone's permission to build something and distribute it to the entire world. All you need is a laptop and an internet connection.
But all the leverage in the world won't help you if you don't know where to point it. And this is where specific knowledge comes in. This is not the stuff you learn from a textbook. Specific knowledge is that weird combination of things that you are uniquely obsessed with. It's that topic you can't stop reading about, that skill you've been honing since you were a kid, that thing that feels like fun and games to you but looks like really hard work to everyone else. It's authentic to you. It can't be taught in a class. That's the unique engine that you attach leverage to.
All right, so we've totally re-engineered our idea of wealth. But like we said at the very beginning, a big bank account does not equal a happy life. So now we have to shift gears. We're going from the external game of building wealth to the internal game of finding peace. And Naval's big argument here is that happiness isn't some prize you get at the finish line. It's a skill. It's something you have to actively learn and practice, just like any other skill.
So much of our modern anxiety comes from playing the wrong game without even realizing it. Most of society is playing what Naval calls the status game. It's zero-sum game, which means for me to win, you have to lose. Think about office politics, getting into an exclusive school, or just fighting for likes on social media. It's all about your rank relative to others, and it's a recipe for misery. But then there's the wealth creation game. When you build a great product, you win, and the customer who buys it also wins. It's a positive-sum game. We can all get richer together. The secret to a more peaceful life is to opt out of status games wherever you can.
So how do we actually learn to be happy? It's about building new habits for your mind. Step 1 is a big one. Realize that every single desire you have, I'll be happy when I get that car, I'll be happy when I get that promotion, is basically a contract you sign with yourself to be unhappy until you get it. Step 2 is learning to be present, right here, right now, instead of living in regret about the past or anxiety about the future. Step 3, get this, envy is the most useless emotion. It's the only one you never have fun with. And finally, step 4, find peace by accepting things as they are, not fighting reality. These aren't just nice ideas, they're daily practices.
If you can build these habits, you can also redefine another huge life goal, retirement. We're taught to think of retirement as a finish line at age 65. But that's not it. True retirement is a state of mind. It's when you stop sacrificing the present moment for some imagined future. It's the moment when today feels complete, all on its own, without needing anything else. By that definition, you could be retired tomorrow, or even right now. It's about internal freedom, not a number in a bank.
Okay, so there's a really important idea that ties all of this together, both wealth creation and happiness. And that is the absolute incredible power of playing the long game. The biggest rewards in every area of life come from compound interest, and I don't just mean for your money.
This is such a profound insight. We all get how compound interest works with money. Your interest earns interest, and it grows exponentially. But we forget that the same logic applies to everything. The trust in a good relationship compounds over decades. Your knowledge in a specific field compounds until you're a world expert. Your reputation, your health, your habits, they all compound. If you're always jumping from one thing to the next, you never give anything enough time to truly compound and deliver those massive, life-changing returns. So how do you play these long-term games? Well, here are the basic rules. First, you have to find other people who are also in it for the long haul. Second, you have to take on accountability. Put your real name out there, take risks. Third, you have to be patient. So patient. The big rewards take years, sometimes decades. You also have to value your own time. Figure out what an hour of your time is worth and don't waste it on things below that rate. And maybe the most important rule of all, avoid ruin. Don't make any single bet in your finances, your health, or your reputation that could take you out of the game for good.
All right, let's put all the pieces together now. We've talked about a new definition of wealth, happiness as a skill, and the power of long-term thinking. How does this all combine into a practical philosophy for living? It creates what you might call a path of calm ambition.
And here's the thought that really sets you free. No one in the world can compete with you at being you. It's that simple. The moment you start comparing yourself to someone else and trying to beat them at their game, you've already lost. But your unique combination of skills, your specific knowledge, your personality, no one has that. That is your monopoly. So your goal isn't to be better than anyone else. It's a search. It's a search to find the people and the problems that most need your unique self.
This philosophy also changes how you approach your ambitions. Instead of being obsessed with rigid goals, which, let's be honest, often just set us up for disappointment, the focus shifts to building systems. You want to create an environment and a set of daily habits where your desired outcome becomes almost inevitable. So if you want to get in shape, don't just fixate on a number on the scale. Build a system of going to the gym every morning and having healthy food in your fridge. The results will come as a byproduct of the system.
And at the end of it all, this entire way of thinking rests on one foundational pillar: radical personal responsibility. No one is coming to save you. A doctor can't make you healthy. You have to do the work. A personal trainer can't make you fit. You have to lift the weights. A business partner can't make you wealthy. You have to take the risks. You are responsible for your life. And while that might sound a little scary, it's also the most empowering idea in the world. You have the controls.
So I want to leave you with this one last question from Naval to really think about. Let's just sit with it. Desire is a contract you make with yourself to be unhappy until you get what you want. Think about your own life. What are the contracts you have signed, maybe without even realizing it? What things are you telling yourself you need to have or achieve before you'll allow yourself to be happy? And are those contracts really worth the price you're paying?
Before you click away, I want to talk to you for just a moment, not as a creator, not as someone summarizing a book, but as another person trying to figure life out. If this book does anything well, it doesn't rush you. It doesn't push you. It doesn't tell you that you need to become someone else. It simply holds up a mirror and asks, are you sure the way you're living is the way you actually want to live? That question can feel uncomfortable because a lot of us are doing okay. And when you're doing okay, it's easy to ignore the quiet misalignment. We stay busy, we keep achieving, we keep moving. But movement isn't the same as meaning. One thing I really appreciate about the Almanack of Naval Ravikant is that it doesn't shame ambition. It doesn't say money is bad or success is empty. It just reminds you that if you don't decide what enough looks like, the world will decide for you, and it will never stop asking for more. You don't need to change your life after this video. You don't need to quit anything or make dramatic decisions. Sometimes the most powerful shift is just noticing when you're chasing something out of habit instead of intention. If this video made you pause, even for a second, that's enough. let that pause stay with you. And if you want a space where ideas are explored slowly, honestly, without pressure or noise, I'd really love for you to be part of Bookworm. You can like the video, subscribe, or just quietly come back next time. No rules. But I do want to ask you one thing before you go. And if you feel like sharing, I'd love to read it in the comments. What is one thing you're chasing right now that you're not completely sure you even want? Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next one.